The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
And this is the Magic Mike Show, episode 550. Mr. Somich.
Little Cali State bred. Huzzah!
Huzzah! And special thanks to you and Aaron Haltman filling in for me on Monday's show. If you guys missed it, they did a great job of recapping the Preakness Stakes. And I found out people, big fans of what you guys were doing. I was on there at FanDuel with Caleb Keller on Monday and Tuesday. First thing he says to me Tuesday when he comes in, "Oh, I caught Aaron. He's filling in for you on your show yesterday." I was like, "Well, yeah, we were here." He's like, "Yeah, I was listening to it on my way up this morning." So, hi, Caleb. Caleb's a big fan of ours, is what I've learned.
I love it. Well, apparently he's a big fan of Aaron and I. We're not so sure about you yet.
Well, yeah, we'll see. He was stuck with me on the desk for 2 straight days. So if I never go back to being on the desk with Caleb again, we'll know why.
Yeah, there we go. No, Caleb's great, man. We've had him on the show here on the Magic Mike Show before. He was awesome. I got to hang out with him at Keeneland. Very good golfer as well. So, yeah. Cool dude. Good dude.
Yeah, I liked working with him a lot. He's a lot like what you would think if you've ever seen him like at the track. On TV, it's a little different. But if you ever see him at the track or something, he's very much like that in person too. He and I, because I don't like to sit for very long, he and I both we're just standing most of the time because we're not on camera. So like he is a very animated speaker when he's not on camera. And it was really funny to me. Like you two would get along perfectly with your own morning show. I'll just say that.
we had a couple cocktails in Lexington when I was there, and we had a good time. We enjoyed. We watched some basketball. He's a big basketball guy as well from Indiana. Watched some
Pacers
basketball together, and we had a good time. Yeah, this was probably 2 years ago now, though. It's been a minute.
I don't believe it. Well, we better hurry up and get to the horse racing because we're putting Aaron to sleep in the background. Let's talk about Saturday's late pick 5 at Santa Anita Park. It's all Cowbruds. It's all fun.
Ooh, yeah.
All right, kicking off the first leg of the Santa Anita Late Pick 5 Saturday, May 25th. Race 6 is the Franz Valentine Stakes. 11 Cowbred fillies and mares routing a mile on the turf. Who you got and why?
Wow. So I did this without morning lines. So pretty happy to see that my top pick is 12-1. Give me the 9. Moments Pleasure here on top. 3-year-old filly for Lewis. Berrios takes them out here, and this is a horse where I think you have to watch the replays to really like this one. If you go back, you watch the race 2 back, was able to win going 6 furlongs. I thought it was interesting that after the first effort at Del Mar going 5 over the dirt, they stretched this horse out to a mile over the turf, but did so jumping up from the maiden claiming to the maiden special weight level. The horse returns going 6 furlongs over the maiden in the maiden special weight level at Santa Anita, breaks the maiden first back as a 3-year-old, jumps up into an open company, so not state bred, optional 50K. And was stymied. Just the horse, I think, was the best in that race, had absolutely no room. And I don't think the number is completely valid because of the issues that the horse had. I thought it was a good step forward in the second race. I think this horse is better going 2 turns, better going a mile. And I think the fact that they're showing the confidence to wheel this one back, not only protected, not only in a spot, but to reel back against Stakes Company, it says a lot about what they expect from Moments Pleasure. I also love the fact that we've got Berrios riding this horse. There was a couple others in here that Berrios could have ridden and chose not to. He ends up on the 9 Moments Pleasure, and so do I. 12-1 on the morning line. Love to start it out that way.
Not my top pick, but is on the ticket for me. All the reasons you mentioned. I'm not too worried about her being a 3-year-old facing older horses because she was against older horses in that last race. Craig Lewis's barn is red hot at this meet. 5 for 17 so far when we were doing this on Thursday. So if you catch this on Saturday, maybe you had a couple winners Friday or it changed. But 5 for 17 right now at the current meet. 10 of 17 in the money. So not only is he winning, but they're consistently running very well. Since 2023, according to DRF, Lewis has a 290 ROI on turf, and it's because of horses like this at 12-1 getting the job done. I'm with you that she was the best horse in that last race. The wider draw here, I hope that helps her get a cleaner trip. So she won't be, I think she was like post 3 in that race. Now she's post 9. So should help her out. We agreed on 2 horses. That's one of them. The other's my top pick, the 11 Stay and Scam at 5-2. I'm not worried about her post draw, which I can understand if some people are. I'm not, because the only way she wins this, in my opinion, is if she goes gate to wire.
Yeah.
So she's going to gun and go out early. So that is the plan. That is her style. If she doesn't get to the front, she's not going to win this race. And I went 3 deep. You went 4 deep here. But we both think, I'm guessing that this horse is going, and could just easily wire him.
Yeah, I mean, the question is going to be the 4-horse sneaker. I know Doc mentioning give me the 4 wire to wire to Price. Shoddy likes it as well. Look, I think the 4 and the 11 go, and it's a question of who is faster. And then I wouldn't be shocked if the 11 kind of gives into the 4 at some point here and decides to sit second. But look, the problem with the 11 and whether or not to play, the last 2 races, both grade 3 efforts against Open Company, dropping back into this state bred level. Both of those races are good enough to beat this field. And so if you can replicate either of those, you should be good enough here from Stay and Scam's perspective. But the post makes it hard to really believe that you can rely on this horse. And that to me was the big issue here. So I had Stay and Scam in third. But I do think this is one that you need on the ticket if you're spreading it all. I think if you're going short and you want to take a shot against Stay and Scam, I don't hate it. But it's hard for me to leave the Stay and Scam off. I'm surprised Doc likes the 4, to be honest. Sneaker 40, a 3-year-old, and usually that's not his jam here. Second for me was the 8-horse Medea. This is a Delosi horse that it feels like it's going to get a very good trip in this spot. It went 1 mile and an eighth last time, cutting back to 1 mile. 2 for 10 at the distance, 5 times in the money in those 10 races. So the mile distance is just fine. And this is a horse that's consistent, but just doesn't like to win all that often. And that is my main concern here with the 8. But it clearly fits this level. And the 9, I'm betting on the come, right? I'm betting that horse takes a step forward. But this is a horse that's beaten the 11 Stay and Scam before. That was at 6.5 furlongs. That has consistently run well at this mile distance. And so I'm willing to take a little bit of a shot with the 8, who in my mind is the second classiest horse in this field here at 5-1.
I didn't use this horse, but I strongly considered, I'm a little scared of this horse. If I have any scratch from my 3 horses in here, I'm going to add her on here. One thing that's interesting about her is that when she's not on the Santa Anita turf course, she is 0 for 10. Like, she is horrible when she is not riding on the Santa Anita turf course. And she's been doing the 6.5 furlong downhill sprint a lot. But I think my own way I look at it is that tends to be milers do better on that than like your 5 furlong sprinters. So it shows well that she was doing that. I like the cut back here for her. She did make the ticket because it would just get a little too expensive for me. But like I said, if there's a scratch, she's next up for me.
Yeah, it was interesting that you get Rosario 2 back. So, I mean, you're getting pretty good jockeys here. I know you're not a big Victor Espinoza fan. He's ridden her quite a few times, but the cutback to me is a big part of this. I think the 1 mile and an eighth was a little too far. They actually went pretty fast. I mean, 47-2, 111-2, and this horse was right toward the pace. Ends up running second in that race, going 12s on the way home. So I thought it was a really good race, but I do think the cutback to 1 mile is going to be beneficial here.
Next up for me, third last horse I'll use, it's the number 6 Tam's Little Angel for trainer Steve Specht, jockey Frankie Alvarado. This horse I'm riding is on a hot streak, so I'm trying to ride the hot hand here. She's 1-2 straight, a sprint and a route, both run the Golden Gate Synthetic, but Steve Specht can come down to Santa Anita and win with no problem. In fact, when he does it with jockey Frankie Alvarado, they're 3 for 5 in the last year and a half. So they're pretty good at coming down to Santa Anita and spoiling dreams. One of those 2 losses that they had actually was with her going down the hillside turf course, but she had a steady trip. It wasn't a great effort for her. She is a lot more talented than that, as she's shown since then. The one concern, you could say, yeah, she's 1 for 7 on the turf. But when you look specifically at this mile distance, she's 1 for 2 at the distance. So that one turf victory was at this distance. The other time she finished third. So she is capable of doing it. And so if the 11 doesn't go gate to wire, to me, this was the most likely next winner.
Yeah, I'm worried about the trip. That was, for me, the big thing. It feels like the 4, 6, and 11 all go, and this could heat up. And I like the 6 coming out of a 6 furlong sprint on the synthetic. Concerned that we're going to see a quick pace from there. We've seen her in back-to-back mile races prior to that. The paces were pretty quick. And then she's come down and she's tried this California state bred level before at Santa Anita and not done well. I actually do like a couple Golden Gate horses shipping in a little bit later, but Tam's Little Angel wasn't for me. I did go 4 deep here. I went to the inside. This is Cameron Miranda. Horse claimed last time out from D'Amato, heading into the Sadler barn. Hernandez, top jock at Santa Anita, picks up the mount here. we're stretching out, and that's going to be the big question is what kind of trip we can get stretching out. But I go back to that race at Del Mar off the bench. This horse going a mile on the turf against $20,000 state-bred fillies, breaking from the one post, was able to save ground and then able to kind of cut the corner and make a big run at it. I think we're going to get that similar trip from Carmen Miranda because I don't think she's fast enough to go with the 4, the 6, and the 11 early. So I'll take the ground-saving trip with the 1 as the last horse on my ticket.
My big concern with this horse, and why I didn't use her, no shot at John Sadler, no knock against him. This horse was with Phil D'Amato from the start. It makes us suddenly think that she's going to break through off when D'Amato said, well, let's just put her in for a tag. Someone can buy her for $80,000 if they want. And and the Sadler's going to do something with her that D'Amato never did. To me, I couldn't get past that fact, especially when she's 72. If she's a price horse, I'm a lot more interested, but not at this price.
I think the stretch out was what made me interested. And you look at who she faced. Like she faced AG Bullet, Silver Bullet, whatever you want to call her. Two back. That horse ran well in Kentucky after that race. And I don't think they necessarily thought that horse was going to get snapped up for 80,000. I think that's the other part of it, right? Like you have to really believe that you're going to be able to wheel back into a race like, because even if she wins this race, it's a loss, right? They're only 60K back of the 80,000. So they clearly thought that there was some type of upside that the D'Amato barn hadn't seen. And to me, it makes sense. You stretch her out, right? That's the thing that she has not done since that Del Mar race where she won in that state bred $20,000 race. So the fact that they are deciding to go with this spot makes me feel a little bit better about claiming off D'Amato.
Real quick before we move on, Doc asking any love for my second pick, the 7, Cornelia Ford. Interestingly enough, another former Nicholas Alexander homebred that got claimed by Ronas, but then Ronas lost this horse and has put in some competitive efforts at like the optional claiming level. She is cutting back after going a mile and 1/8 mile and a quarter, but those last 2 mile efforts before that, Mike, they don't really inspire much confidence.
I think she's got a very good chance at hitting the board and a very low chance at winning the race. Right, she's one of those horses that kind of seems to run in the 3rd, 2nd, 4th type spot. And I think that's where she's got a very good chance of doing again today. She'll sit right behind the horses that are forwardly placed, but she's not quite good enough to pass them and hold everybody off. So I think that the 7 ends up hitting the board. If you're playing tries, I love the 7. If you're playing pick 5s, I'm not as big of a fan.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. Second leg of the late pick 5, Santa Anita, Saturday, May 25th, race 7. It's an N1X optional claiming dirt sprint going 6 furlongs for 8 Calbred. Fillies and mares, I almost singled, and you did, and it's the same horse. And this is the only single either of us has in this sequence, but it's interesting it comes in this race and not a later one. Talk to me about the number 4 for Peter Miller, Dancing Cat.
Yeah, I went back and forth, and this was a ticket cost thing for me more than anything else. Is I wanted to try and find a way to be able to put all the horses I wanted in other spots and still be able to reduce the ticket because I didn't love this sequence. I feel like I have some opinions, but I don't have anything where I'm like, oh, I've got to be hammering this horse. And the 4, to me, it ended up being the single here where I thought made the most sense. Dancing Cat, Peter Miller horse, I thought has run well as a 2-year-old and a 3-year-old. Now we're coming back for our 4-year-old debut. Miller 25% off these type of layoffs. The last 2 workouts, phenomenal. Both bullets, 1 out of 5 on May 14th, and then 1 out of 30 there on May 18th. Takes the blinkers off too, which I think is awfully interesting because you could argue her best race was her maiden special weight score where she didn't have the blinkers and added them 2 races later. Lost to She's Bulletproof 2 back. That's a pretty good horse. And there's just not like for a state bred $20,000 optional going 6 furlongs. There just isn't that much good speed in this race. And it feels like she's able to reach out. She's able to get the lead if she wants it. And if she doesn't want it, she's already shown that she can win at 6 furlongs sitting just off the pace. So I expect her to be forwardly placed, either 1st or 2nd. I think the blinkers off helps her relax a little bit more here. Get JJ Hernandez up, the top jock again. So I think it's all systems go here for the 4 horse. She should have her choice of how to control the race.
I love the aggressiveness with this being the single and getting out in a later spot here. I think, you scratch off the last start. Something clearly went wrong because she faded badly and then she misses 9.5 months. Scratch off 3 back. Only time she tries routing, right? Suddenly you're left with 3 starts sprinting on dirt, which is what we're doing today. A win, a second. One of those seconds by a nose. Buyer is improving each of those 3 starts. So, yeah, I'm fully on board with you here. If she doesn't fire off the layoff or if taking blinkers off doesn't help her and she regresses or something weird happens, I'm going to go with the 5. Wish they all could be at 6-1 as my second choice here. Run second off the layoff after showing speed and fading last out versus the 1 and 2, who obviously neither of us are using here. But She runs back at the same level in for the 20K optional tag. She gets a major jockey upgrade at Antonio Frisu. And I say major because I don't know if you know this. Well, you probably do, but you listener, Antonio Frisu, currently the meet leading jockey by wins at Santa Anita. This guy is kicking ass. And he also wins 41% at Santa Anita for trainer Hector Palma, producing a 315 ROI. So do I think this is the most likely winner? No. But the most likely winner to both of us, coming off a layoff, the equipment change, should fire. But if she doesn't, I think the 5 is going to be tons of value here at 6-1.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, the one horse, Irish Wahine, has beaten this horse a couple times. But I would kind of lean toward your side of this and say that the 5 is one that you want to be playing if you are going to try and get around the 4. You mentioned second off the layoff, second time back in the De Palma barn as well, or the Hector Palma barn. So second off the claim after claiming it. They put it back up for a tag, but she's had success at this level. I wish she'd won one of those last couple races. That to me is the only really big knock here. But the fact that we're getting second off the layoff here and she's speed and quit, I don't think she really wanted the lead either. I think she kind of de facto ended up with it because that was a 7 furlong race, cutting back to 6 furlongs where she's got 2 wins and 7 tries, hit the board 4 times. I think this is the better distance forward than the 7. And I think she'd rather sit second, to be honest with you. And I think she's going to get that opportunity with Danzig Cat. It's going to be a question of whether or not the 5, Wish They All Could Be, is going to be able to run down Danzig Cat in the stretch.
And also to the point, Wish They All Could Be at her best, can win and beat this group, but she does have spotty form. So you do have that to kind of contend with. Thank you very much. Had a little delivery here. But yeah, no, that's was there any other horse that you would have considered in this spot?
I looked at the 2, Tizzy Twister. I thought that was the other one that I was considering if I didn't go with the 4. And Tizzy Twister 1-2 back. Last time out, actually got claimed from Palma, but goes to the Papa Duermo barn. He's 27% first off the claim. Ran second to the 1 last time out. I think gets a little bit better of a trip. I'm a little concerned about the distance. He is 2 for 5 at the distance, but doesn't have a ton of early speed. And cutting back from a mile and then to 7 furlongs and now to 6 was a little bit of a concern for me. But to me, it was the 2 or the 5 if I was going to not use the 4.
Shai says a what twister? A
Tizzy
with 2 Z's twister.
I said that right, didn't I?
You did say it right.
Okay.
Yeah. Shadi's, I think Shai's making a funny joke. Michael Olson was here 15 minutes ago, but he's not. No, I wanted the inside scoop on both the 1 and the 2. They're both Rockingham Ranch horses, and Michael does work for Rockingham Ranch, so I wanted the tip off on either of these horses if he was going to have one, but he's not here. But if you come back, tell us if you think either of those horses have a chance. They're with 2 different trainers too.
It's amazing how much Santa Anita hate we're getting in the chat. Like 4 people have already been like, "You're covering Santa Anita?" Yeah, but this is actually a pretty good day. So we were talking about going Backwood or Santa Anita, and we looked at both cards, and we felt this was a little bit better of the like top to bottom card at Santa Anita. So we wanted to give it a little bit of love.
Third leg of the Santa Anita Late Pick 5, Saturday, May 25th. Race 8, it's the Snow Chief Stakes for 10 3-year-old boys going 1 mile and 1/8 on the turf. And by my count, not a single horse in this field has gone 1 mile and 1/8 on the turf. So be something new for all of them in that sense. Who you got on top and why?
Oh, I didn't get all that creative in this one. Give me the 1 Shady Tiger on top here. It's a D'Amato horse that is going to be stretching out. I mean, they're all going to be stretching out, like you said, for the most part. But I like the fact this horse has been able to pass opponents going 6 furlongs. I think this is another one where being on the turf is a positive for it. Smiling Tiger had a full mandate. Shouldn't have any issues here going that full 1 mile and 1/8 distance. Gets a very nice spot sitting on the rail. Hernandez takes the mount back. If you haven't noticed a trend here, I like Hernandez quite a bit in these races. And this is just one of those horses that when you go back and you watch the races, I don't think the kick is going to be any worse when we go 1 mile and 1/8. I think this is a horse that's going to be able to just kind of lope along, sit behind the leaders, and then have that same closing kick we've seen multiple times of both dirt and turf from Shady Tiger. Kind of wish we got a little bit better of a price sitting at the 5-2 number. But, you know, we've got a price early and we've got a single that's 3-1. So I'm not overly concerned about it here.
I'm going to try and beat this horse. I'm going to try and beat this favorite here. So actually, Smiling Tiger never raced beyond 7 furlongs in a 29-start career. He's produced 8% turf routers overall. So I don't think that routing is going to be a good sign. This horse has got 3 siblings that are all over 3 in turf routes. So I don't think, especially 1 mile and 1/8 is good. If we were going all of these sprints to 1 mile, absolutely. I would love this horse in the spot, but I think the 1 mile and 1/8 is going to be too much. So that's why I left it off at a short price.
Yeah. I mean, This race and the next race, I would not go crazy. There's just because of the information that we have on the page, it is very difficult to be overly confident in any type of opinion in the next couple races.
One horse. So we agree on 2 horses here. Which one 3 deep? Let's talk about a couple. And we'll start with the 5 because I see Dr. Tank says he thinks that this race is 1-5. Move on. The 5 is Curlin's Chaos. Triple Crown nominated horse. Tried the Sunland Derby. Tried the Santa Anita Derby. Very well beaten 4th behind Stronghold in both of those spots. So a good horse to be losing to, really, because we both were impressed with his Kentucky Derby effort. This horse is 2 for 3 on the turf. Both those 2 wins both came at the mile distance, came from either stalking 2 to 3 lengths off or 7 lengths off for the maiden win. So this horse has got a lot of talent going this turf mile. We're back on the surface. I think all systems are go for the 5.
Yeah, not much to add. Like, this is the one horse that we've seen go a mile and an eighth, so that's a positive. Wasn't a terrible effort in the Santa Anita Derby, which I think is definitely the worst surface for this horse.
Beat half the field.
Yeah, I mean he wasn't embarrassed. Ended up 8 lengths back of a horse that ran well in the Derby, so you can't really overly knock the horse for that effort. Now we got back on turf, was in state bred, was able to win, and to me that's the other part of this. Like the Sunland Derby and Santa Anita Derby both open company as well. Now we're getting back to state bred company here. The mile and an eighth, yeah, it's a question because the one effort we do have is over the dirt, but he wasn't backing up in that race, which I think is a positive. So I think the 5 makes a ton of sense as well. Should get a pretty good trip as well, as some tactical speed, but doesn't need to be overly forwardly placed. So yeah, I think the 1 and the 5 are the 2 horses that make a ton of sense. I went with the 3rd horse here, a little bit more of a price, one that you're using as well, even though the father is Blame, who we always talk about not using on the turf. But in this case, the 8 Final Storm, who's already won over the turf, so at least you've gotten that out of the way. Going to be the other horse that we're both using here. And this is one where, look, the maiden claiming level, $50,000. Little Red Feather claims this horse. D'Amato sends it to D'Amato, immediately puts it on turf, immediately produces a top buyer, runs back and wins against winners for the first time. Now we're taking another jump up. This stretch out shouldn't be a problem. Blame out of a Pioneer of the Nile mare, mile and eighth, right between the eyes. This horse has early speed, but can also pass horses. I thought that was really interesting in that 6 furlong race, especially tucked in at the rail. Like that wasn't an easy trip to go 6 furlongs on the turf sprinting your first time and do it off the rail and be able to come from last place to win. I should get a decent trip here. Frey can decide where he wants to go with the speed. So I'm going 158 here and trying to get through.
Isn't it interesting that D'Amato claims the horse and immediately goes, we're going to the turf? Like the horse had never been on turf. You go, no, we're going to claim this horse and we're going to put it on turf. And I can see him telling Billy Koch and Little Red Feather, like, we're gonna do something real sneaky here with this horse. It's something they've done quite a bit. Is they'll claim or privately purchase a horse and do something sneaky, like suddenly go to the turf. So, by the way, Blame, not terrible on turf. He's a 13% turf sprint turf route. The national average for all sires is 11%. So he's slightly better than average. And like you said, this horse has already proven that he can win on the turf. The other horse for me, the number 4, 2x4 at 6-1. Maybe the stretch out in distance is finally going to get this horse the victory on turf. Is 0 for 3 on turf, but has 2 seconds. The time the horse didn't finish on the board, it had a really troubled trip in the stretch. It was first time on turf and has improved since then. A reminder from we talked about in the first leg here. Trainer Craig Lewis, 290 ROI on turf since 2023. So he's very good on the turf. His barn is red hot right now. I'm just hoping that the stretch out in distance here is what's able to get this horse over the hump, but at least I'm getting a good price at 6-1. Yeah.
And the last race was pretty good going a mile. Again, shouldn't have a problem with the extra distance. A clubhouse ride horse out of eventually a Tisnow line, right? So you would think that the distance isn't an issue. It was closing last time. Got beat by the 5, which is the big question mark here. But it was able to beat Size Does Matter, a little more than average there from Size Does Matter as well, the 2 horse in here. So like has beaten some of this competition. The big question mark is the mile and eighth. Should be able to handle it. I think it's just kind of a cut below. Like his A game, I don't think gets to the 1, the 5, or the 8's A game. However, I understand why you want to use this one because I think it's more likely you see the A- game from the 4 than you may necessarily see from some of the others, and that may be good enough to get it done if no one else fires big.
Ooh, excuse me. Sorry about that. We're gonna make somebody happy here. They said they were here just to listen to me say the word penultimate. Oh, it was Rob. Guess what? It's time for the penultimate leg of the Santa Anita Park Late Pick 5, Race 9 on Saturday, May 25th. It is the Malaire Stakes. We had a field of 7 3-year-old fillies going a mile and a 16th on the dirt. Now, your 8-5 favorite is the 4 Grand Slam Smile, probably the most singled horse in this entire card overall from people who play the sequence. But not only are we not singling, we're both using the same second horse in this spot. But talk to me first about Grand Slam Smile. This is a horse that you backed in the Cal Cup Oaks over this turf course in January. It's her last start, but you were all over her in that race, but you're not singling her here.
I'm not, because we're not on the turf, right? Like that's kind of matters, right? We're switching the surface here. And a big part of this was this horse coming down after the nice synthetic effort up at Golden Gate against Open Company, then jumping back into State Bred Company. She was able to get it done there at $2.10. We're getting a worse price today. And like, there's too many new things. And this to me was the most difficult race in the sequence because none of these horses have gone a mile and 16th, let alone gone a mile and 16th on dirt. So like a lot of these horses who seem to be good horses on synthetics, seem to be good horses on turf, seem to be good horses at 6 furlongs. None of them have done what they're doing today. And that makes it really tough to kind of handicap and come through with who you like. I think Grand Slam Smile is your most likely winner. She was the horse that I ended up putting on top here. Said I'd like some Golden Gate horses later. This is one of them here. Steve Spike comes down here. Alvarado rides. He sticks in. I think this is the reason why he's down here, is to ride Grand Slam Smile. I don't think that he wants to give up this mount long term. And she's got tactical speed. So if she wants to lead, she can have it. She's able to pass horses. So if she wants to let the 2 Only One America go, she can do that as well and be able to close late. To me, the big question here was, what are we going to do with the distance? What are we going to do with the surface? And the win 3 back at Santa Anita over the dirt makes you confident that the surface isn't going to be an issue. So then it really just becomes, hey, is the distance going to be an issue here? I don't think so, but I do have enough interest in another horse here that I'm going to go too deep.
Nick Seaver says surface change is very strange. She does have a couple of dirt sprint stakes wins over here. I don't think it's strange. I think she's versatile, that she can do. I mean, she's shown she can win on any surface, but you've also got to remember Golden Gate Fields has got 2 weeks left and then they're done forever. Like the big barns are all leaving or have already left. Like Steve Speck brought the barns down here that at least the good horses, and the rest of his barns going to migrate down here once Golden Gate is done. So it's smart that they come down here, but also like her options are a little limited, right? There's not going to be a ton of spots where you can take this horse in California, especially with Golden Gate closing, that you're like, this is perfect for her. You just got to go with what you can. But again, she's got the 2 dirt sprint stakes wins. We're both also using the 7 Roberta's Love, and she's 3-1. So we're using the top choice and the second choice. But if the top choice in here, the 4, doesn't win, we both think this is the most likely winner after that. Yeah,
this is a horse that, like, when I went through here, I'm like, okay, who can control the pace? I think the 7 is the most likely to control the pace. And there's important caveat there. Like, I think the 3 goes, right? Or I'm sorry, the 2 Only One America goes. But Roberta's Love, if she can cross over, she's the one who actually could control the pace. Because I think if the 2 goes, the 7 goes with her. And that causes an issue for both of them. If the 7's able to cross over, nobody goes with the 7. And that to me is going to be the key here. The 7 coming out of 6 and 6.5 furlong races. So a horse that should really relish the distance. A collected horse out of a Broken Vow mare. So I have no concerns about the mile and the 16th here. It's just whether or not Hernandez hits the go button as aggressively as he's going to need to. This horse went 21-4 the last 2 times. 44-3, 44-4 for the half mile. She has more than enough speed to get there. It's just all going to be about who is more aggressive here, Hernandez or Rispoli out of the gate. I think Hernandez is aggressive. And if that's the case, I think the 7 clears. And if the 7 clears, all of a sudden she's really dangerous. And that's the reason I ended up using the 7. I don't disagree with it with Doc here. He likes the 1 as well, come from off. That was my last horse off the ticket. I'm $48. You can add the 1 to my ticket, and it would be $72. So if you want to add the 1 here, I don't hate that idea as kind of the collapse-ish horse. But I think the 7 is the next most likely winner, simply because if she can clear, then she's going to be very, very dangerous. And she has the speed to do so. It's whether or not Hernandez just sends. Yep. I love this spot for it. She also, because this is a mile and 16th and not a mile, I think that helps her out as well. She's going to have most of the stretch to be able to get over. So we are definitely in agreement here in the penultimate race. We're on 4-7, the 5th and final leg of the Santa Anita Late Pick 5, Saturday, May 25th, race 10. We couldn't do Santa Anita without running down the 6.5 furlong
Hillside Turf Course. This is going to be a fun race. 11 Calabreds plus 1 also eligible, and 1X allowance. Who you got and why?
I love it when horses drop back down in class. Let's look at the 9. Eddie's last 6-1 on the morning line. Doug O'Neill, Mario Gutierrez rides. I love me a square Eddie over the California turf sprinting courses against state breds. Anyway, we get one here. Square Eddie coming on and taking on state bred company again. To me, that's the big thing here. The last 2 races, both been open company, $50,000 allowance and $50,000 optional claimer. Was able to win the optional claimer off the bench. And if you look back 3 races ago, ran at state bred optional 20 level, just missed with a little bit of trouble in that race. I think Eddie's last, the 9 horse, is a deserving favorite here. And if you look at the trajectory of what this horse has been able to do through the later part of its 3-year-old season into the 4-year-old season, he just keeps getting better. And any type of improvement would make him very tough in this field. I mean, if he just runs back to what he was, he is tough in this field. But if he improves, I think it's a big time advantage here for the 9 Eddie's last. So that's going to be the horse I took on top.
Did not put on top, but definitely agree with you in using him here. We agreed on 2 different horses, and this is one of them. It feels like he's 6-1's really good value on this horse, right? Like I was looking at him thinking he'd be more 7-2, 4-1 range. Is 6-1 value to you?
Yeah. I mean, he should be the favorite in my mind.
Wow.
Pretty clearly the favorite. I thought the 5 and the 9 should be the 2 favorites, and the 11th should be the 3rd choice, and the 10 is the favorite, who I'm not even using. The 11's the 2nd choice, and then the 6 is up there. I'm not as into the 6 here, just giving you a look ahead into the future here. But yeah, I thought the 9 and the 5 should have been the 2 favorites in this spot.
Next up for me is going to be the number 6, Leia's Candy. You're getting 5-1 on this horse right now, which I think is good. Mark Glatt's got 2 horses in here. I'm using both of them. One of them is the favorite, but this is the other. This horse ran really well back in March 18th of last year, going down the Hillside Turf Course. 4th, only beaten a length, was really in a 4-horse photo and didn't get the cleanest of trips. Might have been a little bit too far back. Since then has been very close to the pace in 3 other sprints. Was on the lead, was second, just off the leader, was second by a half length early, and then completely faded. I think Reese Bully is going to take this horse back, and I think he's going to utilize that late trip that we saw, or that late kick that we saw a year ago and change. So I'm going to go with the 6, Leia's Candy. A big part of it is because Reese Bully is getting into the saddle for Mark Glatt.
This horse loves to burn money. I'm talking loves to burn money. It has run on the.
So now we're getting value at 5-1.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, he's run on the turf 4 times, has been a favorite in all 4 of those races, has finished no better than 3rd in any of those 4 races.
But he finished within 3/4 of a length and a length of winning both of those. So he was close.
I mean,
I know. Just move on.
I mean, yeah, he was close. Anyway, this is one of those horses where
that pays what in a pick 5? Nothing.
Yeah, absolutely nothing. Is the length really that close in a turf sprint? Meh. It's not that
Listen,
close.
we learned last race size does matter, right?
Yeah.
The other horse that we agreed on here is the 11, our Bucky Charm. So all the way to the outside of the field early on. But I thought that opening race, that debut race was so impressive. And now you take that over to the turf, this horse is going to be lights out. Yeah,
it is. And we had a question come in from Daryl here. What's the best angle to play on the 6.5 furlong downhill turf course? Speed's the best angle. You want to be top 4, forwardly placed. It is not an easy course to close on because, well, it does play to some horses that like a few little longer distances. You are running literally downhill. And so the horses that are in front save a lot of energy. They get to go over the dirt first. They generally don't have to swing as wide. You see some horses struggle when they swing wide around the dirt course. You want to be able to be forwardly placed so you don't have a ton of ground to make up. Occasionally you'll see horses come flying from the back, but for the most part, you want to be forwardly placed on these courses. And our Bucky Charm, the 11 horse, is going to be exactly that. I mean, this projects to be your early leader. I love me some Munnings switching over to turf sprinting. Munnings, one of the better turf sprinting sires as well. So you've got a horse that's shown speed on the flat track going 5.5. Now we get to flip it over and go down the hill here. Try turf for the first time. Hernandez signs aboard. Hernandez might sweep this pick 5. I didn't even think about it before doing this, but he has a legitimate chance of sweeping the pick 5 here. And if he does, he'll close it out going gate to wire. The question obviously here is going to be stepping up in class. First time facing winners, was a 40-cent favorite in that race, where only 6 horses in that field, and just kind of played with them, toyed with them. Not going to be able to do the same thing here going down the hill, especially breaking from the 11, but The other thing, the 11 post, not as bad going down the hill as you may think, because they do take that little turn in first and then they kind of come down the hill. So you can save ground on the first slight turn in, and then you're able to cut all the way over, especially if you're a speed. So the 11 post, not as detrimental as if, like, let's say we're going 5 furlongs for this horse wouldn't be bad because you can get in front, but not as detrimental as a normal race when you're sitting in the 11 post.
It's not too often you see a Munnings Calbred. That's pretty cool. The horse got a ton of talent. All right, so it took this horse until he was 5 to make the career debut, but he dominated those horses like he was not a first-time starter. So, yeah, I'm with you on this one. By the way, the post 11 like this, you're breaking from the rail because of that first little dog leg to the right before the big sweeping left. So, speed to burn from there. Let's see. I've got one. I'm trying to remember who I didn't talk about yet. Who do you have left on your ticket?
We haven't talked about my price here. Give me the 3 horse in this spot. Tis a Good Thing. Second off the layoff here for Carla Gaines. Carla Gaines, not someone you want to play first off the layoff, but someone second off the layoff who can be a little bit interesting. This horse debuted going 5.5 furlongs on the turf, ended up running third, but was the favorite that day. How often, Magic, do you see a Carla Gaines horse as a first-time starter go off as the favorite?
Yeah, almost never. I think I've seen it once, and I think the horse that did it was named Tis a Good Thing.
Yeah, almost never. And this horse ended up going off as the favorite. And again, like, it doesn't say the horse is ultra talented, but the word was out on this horse. Someone had something to say about this horse, a tip, a positive mentality, something. Horse ends up running third in that spot. Comes back, breaks the maiden next time out over the dirt, wins the race, stalking, going 5.5 furlongs. Comes back for his first start as a 4-year-old and runs poorly, like totally runs poorly. But hey, it's a Carla Gaines horse. That happens. Like the first start, not necessarily her best. Now we get her second start here, and we're going back to turf. We get Maldonado, who's a speed jockey. Oh, by the way, this horse just popped with a 47-4 workout, 4 of 48 on May 17th. It seems like we are starting to get a little bit better, Magic. Seems like we're running into shape. Seems like we've got a big one loaded up here. And I think Edmund Maldonado adds some speed to this horse. It's going to be forwardly placed. I love the price of 15-1. I like the fact that we're getting back to turf after that debut where we were the favorite.
Damn, you made a hell of a case there for a 15-1 shot. I'll give you one thing that you mentioned too. I was curious about the breeding. One older sibling to race on turf has 2 wins, including one at this allowance level going down this hillside turf course. Ran on the hillside course 3 times in the career, has a win in a very close second. So might run in the family. Tis a good thing for Mike. Last one for me, because I think I got just about everybody else on here. Let's see, we did 6, we did 9, 10. That's who's left. The 10 left-hand man for Mark Ladd. I knew there was one I was missing. Third start off of the layoff for this horse. Last time out, it's just dominated on the front. This is another horse that's got a ton of speed, just like the 11 to his outside, inside, however you want to look at that. Last time out, 1 2.25 lengths, going 6 furlongs on the dirt. The runner-up in that race, California Tiger, came back to win with a big effort. So I'm going to roll with this horse. 27% Mark Glatt and Kyle Frey together. That is astounding. Like, Kyle Frey's been winning secretly without me paying attention. 27% of the 257 ROI for Mark Glatt.
Yeah, 15 wins on the young Santa Anita meet here, 84 races into it. So clicking off around 18%. The turf was the problem for me. One turf effort, clearly the worst race for this horse.
Damn sorry, Square Eddie.
Yeah, no, what was that? Damn sorry, Square. Yeah,
damn sorry, Square Eddie. Yeah,
I don't think that the horse should hate the turf. Like, but I just couldn't get to it, especially when you're staring down a 7-2 favorite. Like that was a little bit too much of an issue for me. I did use Lemon Sushi too. We didn't really talk about, but I mentioned I thought she'd be one of the top 2 favorites. We're going back to State Bread Company. Again, I mentioned this before with the 9. The last 4 races have all been against Open Company. This is the really the first time we're turf sprinting against winners in Open Company. I guess we ran second at Del Mar, going 5 furlongs, 5 races back. The horse has tactical speed. The horse can pass horses. I think Lemon Sushi gets a great trip here. Second off the layoff. Brinkoff is 17%. Bullet in the last workout. Seems like it's all systems go here for Lemon Sushi. The 5, 6-1, actually surprisingly good number on it too.
And you got Antonio Frisu aboard. I was back and forth between Lemon Sushi and the 10. I ended up going with the 10 because of the speed and because of that jockey trainer percentage with Glatt and Frey, and just how well Glatt's doing overall as well. But excuse me, I don't hate this horse. You're getting a better price as well on the 5 Lemon Sushi at 6-1.
Yeah, I'm surprised. I thought the 9 and the 5 were going to be like 7-2 co-favorites. I'm the morning line in this race was We'll see who was right, but I would have made it a little differently here.
Well,
that's okay.
It
doesn't matter. The three horse going to win at 15-1 anyway.
Get your shots in on the morning line odds maker while you can. John White announced his retirement on June 16th, which was exactly what you and I wanted for Father's Day, was that the legendary John White's going to retire.
Yeah.
Take all the attention in headlines.
Yeah. John, just he is a very selfish man if you've ever met him. No, I'm kidding.
Yes,
John's actually phenomenal.
Extremely
dude.
selfish.
Yeah. Phenomenal dude. Wish him all the best in his retirement, and it's got to be a fun job to retire from. I would never take a morning line job. It is the least thankful, it's the most thankless job in horse racing. Because if you are right, no one cares. And if you are wrong, everyone screams at you. And that just does not seem like a fun position to be in.
You feel like you're just constantly explaining yourself.
Yep.
For what you did. And you didn't do anything wrong. But I was lucky. I asked the FanDuel producers yesterday or Monday. Monday is when the news came out. Tuesday. I can't remember. Whenever the news came out, I think it must have been Tuesday. I asked the producers for a time at the end of the show to talk about it. So that was really cool, being able to talk about it on a big platform like that. But that's going to do it for this episode of the Magic Mike Show. Thanks for joining us to talk about the late pick 5 Cal Stakes Day, Cal Bread Day, really, Saturday, May 25th at Santa Anita Park. By the way, I'm going to be there on Monday, it sounds like. Got the in-laws going to be in town from Michigan, and they heard how much fun Colson had at the infield carnival. So now they want to come back to do that. And they asked Celeste, they said, do you think Curtis will take us to the track so we can do that? And I'm like, will he? Yes, he will. He will gladly take you to the horse racing track. Got the tickets down below for the podcast listeners. If you're watching, take a look. I'm going to go 6, 9, 11 with 4, 5, with 4, 5, 8, with 4, 7, with 6, 9, 10, 11. That's $72, Mr. Somich.
Give me the 1, 8, 9, 11 with 4, with 1, 5, 8, with 4, 7, with 3, 5, 9, 11. Just $48 for 50 cents. If you want to make it a little more expensive, I would add the 1 in the fourth leg. That would cost you $72 if you added it.
Over at racingdudes.com, not a whole lot happening right now. We're kind of in a holding pattern for Belmont at Saratoga to hit. But over there, we've got a preview for the Pennine Ridge. Aaron and Jared were on earlier today on Blinkers Off, so check them out if you haven't. They were recapping the Preakness Stakes and taking an early look at the Belmont Stakes contenders. And then if you want a further look at the possible early contenders, we've got a video for that up at the site. We've also got the Rocket Picks with free pick threes every Friday through Sunday on the site. And you can go to the handicapping products page and check out the Somobombs. Where have you been covering now that we're kind of in this weird transitional phase?
We did Gulfstream Sunday and Gulfstream today, and it was wildly frustrating both days because we were so close. Sunday actually was brutal. Our 10 horse got nosed by a 45 to 1 shot one horse who cost us about $3,500 in the last race. And today it was just a situation of having the right horses at the wrong places. So I had the winners, but not the right ticket construction, which is also always frustrating as well. But we'll be back at Gulfstream tomorrow. We got Santa Anita Aqueduct on Saturday. Haven't decided on Sunday yet.
You can follow us on Twitter. I'm at Curtis Kalleward. He is at Somobomb 18, number 1, number 8. Corporate Overlords at Racing_Dudes. Mike, how can people watch you this weekend on VSiN?
I'll be on Sharp Money tomorrow from 2 to 3 Pacific, 5 to 6 Eastern, talking everything NBA and NHL. And then I'll be on Lombardi Line, co-hosting it tomorrow as well, 10 a.m. to noon Pacific, 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern. And then I'll be in the normal spot on The Handle, noon to 3 Eastern, both Saturday and Sunday.
And you can catch me on, if I'm done this week, on FanDuel Racing, but I am going to be on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Friday next week. So check me out in the afternoon or evening on FanDuel Racing. We're not going to have a show next Monday because it's Memorial Day, so enjoy the holiday weekend. Again, if you're going to be at Santa Anita on Monday, May 27th, let me know. I'll be in the infield chasing my little one around, having a lot of fun. We will be back May 30th, so a week from today, we'll have another Pick 5 sequence for you. But until then, I'm Magic.
And I'm Mike.
Good luck this weekend.
The Magic Mike Show, where you hear the experts speak. The Magic Mike Show. Tune into the show every week. The Magic Mike Show. You can trust the show is the bomb because it's being brought to you by RacingDudes.com.